Hello, and I would just like to say before this video starts, I'm sorry for the way I came out speaking in this. I recorded this in a little bit of a rush, so that's why I mess up in a few spots. And I hope you can forgive me and still enjoy the video. So anyway, enjoy the video. Hey Slayers, and welcome to Sega History Part 2, when in this episode we look at the Sega Master System family, meaning the Sega Mark III, Sega Master System, and Sega Master System Model 2. So we're just going to jump right into it, okay? The Sega Master System is a third-generation 8-bit home video game console manufactured by Sega. It was originally a remodeled export version of the Sega Mark III, the third iteration of the SG-1000 series of consoles, which was released in Japan in 1985 and featured enhanced graphic capabilities over its predecessors. The Master System launched in North America in 1986, followed by Europe in 1987 and Brazil in 1989. And if you don't know, Brazil, they still sell the Master System in Brazil today, but we'll get to that later. A Japanese version of the Master System was also launched in 1987, which features a few enhancements over the export models, and by proxy, the original known as Mark III. Wait, hold on. And by proxy, the original Mark III, a built-in FM audio chip, a rapid-fire switch, and a dedicated port for the 3D glasses. A cost-reduced model known as the Master System Mark II was released in 1990 in North America and Europe. The original Master System model uses both. The original Master System models uses both cartridges and a credit card size format known as Sega cards. Accessories for the console include a light gun and 3D glasses that work with a range of specially designed games. The later Master System 2 redesign removed the card slot, turning it into strictly a cartridge-only system, and is incompatible with the 3D glasses. If you guys want me to, I can start doing maybe on a mini episode about accessories, Sega accessories, but that's down the line. For now, let's get back to this. The Master System was released in competition with the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES. Its library is smaller and with fewer well-reviewed games than the NES, due in part to Nintendo's licensing policies requiring platform exclusivity. Though the Master System had newer, improved hardware, it failed to overturn Nintendo's significant market share advantage in Japan and North America. However, it attained significantly more success in Europe and Brazil, overshadowing, this is me adding this, it overshadowed the NES in Brazil and in Europe, as in Europe, the NES, for a kid to say he had an NES wasn't common. Most people either had the Master System. You either had as a kid in Europe, you either had the Master System or you had a home computer. Master System sales estimates are between 10 and 13 million units. Retrospective critics has recognized its role in the development of Sega Genesis and a number of well-received games, particularly in the PAL region, including PAL M regions, but it's critical of its limited library in the NTSC regions, which were dominated by the NES. So we're getting to the background. In the early 1980s, Sega Enterprises Inc., then a subsidiary of the American Golf and Western, was one of the largest arcade game manufacturers active in the United States, with company revenues of $214 million by mid-1982. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read too fast. I'm going to slow down a little bit. A downturn in the arcade business starting in 1982 negatively impacted the company, leading Golf and Western to sell the North American manufacturer and licensing of the arcade to Bally Manufacturing. The company retained its Japanese subsidiary, Sega Enterprises, as well as Sega's North American Research and Development Division, which is with its arcade business in decline. Sega Enterprises president Hayao Nakayama, we'll just call him Nakayama because I can't pronounce his name. Japanese names are hard to pronounce. Advocated that the company leverage its hardware expertise to move into the home console market in Japan, which was in its infancy at the time. Nakayama received permission to proceed. The first model to be developed was the SC3000, a computer with a built-in keyboard, but when Sega learned of Nintendo's plans to release a games-only console, they began developing the SG1000 alongside the SC3000. So we've already covered most of this in the SG1000 video, so I recommend you check that out if you don't know the story. The SG1000 was first released in Japan on July 15th, 1983, at a price of 15,000 yen. It was launched on the same day that Nintendo released the family computer, Famicom, in Japan. Shortly after the launch of the SG1000, Golf and Western began to divest itself of its non-core business after the death of company founder Charles Bladorn? That's a weird name. So Nakayama and former Sega CEO David Rosen arranged a management buyout of the Japanese subsidiary in 1984 with financial backing from CSX Corporation, a prominent Japanese software company. Nakayama was then installed as CEO of the new Sega Enterprises Limited. Following the buyout, Sega released another console, the SG-1002, for 15,000 yen. It features a few hardware tweaks from the original model, including detachable controllers. The SG-1002 did not sell well, however, leading to Sega's decision to continue work on the video game hardware used for the system. This results in the release of the Sega Mark III in Japan. This is where we want to be in 1985. Engineered by the same internal Sega team that had created the SG-1000, the Mark III is a redesigned iteration of the previous console. The CPUs and the SG-1000 and SG-1002 are Zilog Z80As running at 358 MHz, while the Mark III SC3000, a computer version of the SG-1000, and the Master System feature a Z80A running at 4 MHz. The Mark III and Master System also have a slot for Sega card software without any need for the card catcher add-on that the SC3000 and previous SG-1000 consoles required. For the console's North American release, Sega restyled and rebranded the Mark III under the name Master System. You know why I said Master Sister? Because there's a console called the Master System Girl in Brazil, and I'm getting off topic. Similar to Nintendo's own reworking of the Famicom into the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Master System name is one of several proposals Sega's American employees considered, and was ultimately chosen by throwing darts against a whiteboard. Although plans to release a cheaper console, similarly referred to as the base system, also influenced the decision, Sega Enterprises chairman Isao Okawa? I'm sorry, dude. These names endorsed the name after being told it was a reference to the competitive nature of both the video game industry and martial arts, in which only one competitor can be the master. The futuristic final design for the Master System was intended to appeal to Western taste. As part of the marketing for the release in North America, Sega of America head Bruce Lowry, what is it with people in the video game industries and hard names, stated that the console's packaging was made white only because Nintendo NES was packaged in black, and the grid design was inspired by its use in Apple computer products. The Sega Mark III was released in Japan in October 1985 at a price of 15,000 yen, though featuring technically more powerful hardware than its chief competitor, the Famicom. The Mark III did not prove to be successful at its launch. Difficulties arose from Nintendo's licensing practices with third-party developers at the time, whereby Nintendo required that games for the Famicom not be published on other consoles. To overcome this, Sega developed its own games and obtained the rights to port games from other developers, but they did not sell well. NEC later used the same strategy on some of Sega's games when developing games for the TurboGrafx-16 in preparation for the launch. Mark Cerny has stated that pressure was very, very high, with a typical game being awarded only 3 months of development time. After being restyled, the Master System, the console was released in North America in 1986 at a price of $200, equivalent to $466 in 2019, including a multi-cart of the games Hang-On and Safari Hunt. Sega and Nintendo, which was similarly similarly exporting the Famicom to the U.S. as the Nintendo Entertainment System. NES planned to spend $15 million in the fall and winter of 1986 to market their consoles. Sorry, the problem is, right? So when I'm reading this on my Nintendo Switch, right? So it's very hard to see the letters. They're very small. Sega hoped to sell 400,000 to 750,000 consoles in 1986. By the end of 1986, 125,000 Master System consoles had been sold, more than the Atari's 7,800 to 100,000, but less than Nintendo's 1.1 million. As in Japan, the Master System in North America had a limited game library that was not as well received as the NES. Against Nintendo's licensing practices, Sega only had 2 third-party American publishers, Activision and Parker Brothers. By 1988, Nintendo commanded 83% of the North American video game market share. Sega claimed that our system is the first one where the graphics on the box are actually matched by the graphics of the game, and run by only 2 men. And the marketing for the Master System was targeted at bringing home the arcade experience, but its marketing department was run by only 2 men, giving Sega a disadvantage in advertising. At this time, Sega sold the distribution rights for the Master System in the United States to Tonka, which did not have any previous experience with electronic entertainment systems. Some of Tonka's decisions with the Master System include blocking localization of several popular video games. Wow, thanks a lot, Tonka. Thanks a lot. Though the distributor of the console had changed... several popular video games. Though the distributor of the console had changed, the Master System continued to perform poorly in the United States market. The console was released as the Master System in Japan in October 1987 for 16,800 yen, but still sold poorly, as did the Mark III. Neither model posed a serious challenge to Nintendo in Japan. The European launch of the Master System occurred in 1987. It was distributed by Mastertronic, I'll remember that name, in the United Kingdom, Master Games in France, and Arlo Less Soft in Germany. Mastertronic advertised the Master System as an arcade in the home and launched the system at £99? Oh my god! Equivalent to £281 in 2019. Advanced orders for retailers were high, but Sega proved unable to deliver inventory until Boxing Day on December 26, causing many retailers to cancel their orders. As a result, Master Games and Mastertronic both entered financial crises, and Arlosoft vowed never to work with Sega again. Oh, that's actually sad. Hold on. Never to work with Sega again. Mastertronic had already sold a minority interest to Richard Brazenson and the Virgin Group to enter the console business, and now sold the remainder of the company to avoid bankruptcy. The newly rebranded Virgin Mastertronics then took over all European distribution in 1988. Virgin Mastertronic consequently focused marketing the Master System on ports of Sega's arcade games and posi- po- posting it as a superior video game alternative to the Commodore 64 and okay, I'm gonna say this now. It's called ZX Spectrum, but I say ZX Spectrum, so ZX Spectrum home computers. As a result of this marketing and Nintendo's less effective approaches in Europe, the Master System began to attract European-based developers. The Master System held a significant part of the video game console market in Europe through the release of Sega's succeeding console, the Mega Drive. Brazil was also a successful market for the Master System, where the console was distributed by Tectoy. Launched officially in Brazil in September 1989, the Master System achieved success in the region. By the end of 1990, the Master System install base in Brazil was about 280,000 units. The company also introduced a telephone service with tips for games, created a Master System club, and presented the program Master Tips during commercial breaks of the television. So, I don't even know. I'm not even going to be able to say that. Sega's primary competition, Nintendo, did not officially arrive in Brazil until 1993 and were unable to compete. Tectoy claimed 80% of the Brazilian video game market. Okay. Transition to Genesis and decline. Sega released the Mega Drive, a 16-bit... Wait, does this change to... No, okay. Sega released the Mega Drive, a 16-bit video game console in Japan on October 29, 1988. The final license release for the Mark III Master System in Japan was Bomber Raid in 1989. During the same year, Sega was preparing to release the new Mega Drive rebranded Genesis in North America. Displeased with Tonga's handling of the Master System, Sega required the marketing and distribution rights to the Master System for the United States. In 1990, Sega released the remodeled Master System 2, designed to be a lower-cost version of the console. Without the Sega card slot, Sega promoted the new model itself, but the console still sold poorly in the region, though Tonka was no longer involved with the Master System's marketing. By early 1992, Master System production ceased in North America. By the time of its discontinuation, between 1.5 and 2 million units had been sold in the United States, finishing behind both Nintendo and Atari, which controlled 80% and 12% of the market, respectively. The last license released in North America was Sonic the Hedgehog in 1991. Wow. Contrary to its performance in Japan and North America, the Master System was eventually a success in Europe, where it outsold the NES by a considerable margin. As late as 1993, the Master System active installed user base in Europe was 6.6 million units, larger than that of the Mega Drive's 5 million base that year. Combined with the Mega Drive, Sega represented the majority of console user base in Europe. Hold on, give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry for the cut. I lost my part and I had to go back. Combined with the Mega Drive, Sega represented the majority of console users base in Europe that year. The Master System's largest markets in the region were France and the United Kingdom, which had active user bases of 1.6 million and 1.33 million, respectively, in 1993. The remodeled Master System 2 also proved to be successful and helped Sega to sustain the Master System's significant market share in Europe. More new releases would continue into the 1990s in Europe, including Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, and Mercs. The continued success in Brazil. The Master System brand has had continued success in Brazil, where dedicated plug-and-play consoles emulating the original hardware continue to be sold by Tectoy. These systems include the Master System Compact and the Master System 3. though Tectoy has also received requests to remake the original Master System in 2015. It was reported that Master System plug-and-play systems sell around 150,000 units per year in Brazil, a level that holds its own against modern systems such as the PlayStation 4. By 2016, Tectoy had sold 8 million units of the Master System branded systems in Brazil. Okay. So that's the story of the that's the story of the Master System. So it does continue going to Game Gear, but we'll get to the Game Gear our own selves later on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Sega Master System and have learned a little bit more about it. And I'm going to I don't know if let me know in the comments if I should immediately move on to Genesis or if I should do the Game Gear, since the Game Gear is literally the exact same thing as the Master System, just in a handheld form. So until then, see you, Slayers.